Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Geeks and One New, where we gather friends of similar interests and maybe not so similar and discuss, joke, learn more about, and generally have fun with geek culture. Today's topic is cartoons we grew up with. So, what are some cartoons you guys watched as a kid?
Man, that is a long and very lengthy list on my part. Like, I watched quite a bit. I did watch more anime growing up than I did cartoons, but I did watch a lot of cartoons like Ed, and Eddie, Gargoyles, Rocket Power, Avatar: Last Airbender, Samurai Jack. Like, there's so many good cartoons to choose from.
Oh yeah, I've got my whole list here too. It's actually a couple of the same ones as you. It's like
quite a few overlaps there. Courage the Cowardly
Yeah.
Dog, Dexter's Lab,
Yeah,
SWAT Cats, Invader Zim.
Gargoyles, Transformers.
Never allowed to watch Gargoyles, actually.
You weren't
that
allowed to
one's a
watch?
fun one.
Nope.
Oh man. I mean, Gargoyles was fun. It was one of those ones that like it could definitely give or take on the parental parental side, because it's like, yeah, it's like almost demonic in some ways, but it's not. It's not really demonic. It's more just guardians.
It's more of grotesque.
I don't really see the demonic stuff at all on that one. If people tried to make that argument, they call him Stretchy McGee because that is a big stretch on their part.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I just remembered another one. Darkwing Duck.
Yep, that one's on my list as well.
Yep.
That one, yeah. I had to leave off a few on my list because I saw your list. I was like, I don't want too much overlap, so I'll just go with the ones that he didn't list. But like Looney Tunes was another big one for me. It was funny. Many years ago, before Justin and I became roommates, he was out of town visiting family, and he texted me about this Looney Tunes episode he was watching, and all he said was, "Gotta love the Scottish guy in Looney Tunes," and I immediately just start talking about the golf episode, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, how did you know what episode I was talking about?"
Nice. Yep. Well, I mean, Scottish golf, like the whole the kilt thing.
Was that the one where Nessie is trying to play through between Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny?
No, it was specifically a Scottish guy that was getting mad because Bugs Bunny was digging around on the golf course and kept messing up his putts.
Right.
Okay, I don't. I think I'm getting that episode confused with a different one then.
It's
Vague
funny.
There was
memories,
like multiple episodes with Scottish people. There was multiple episodes making fun of golf. So like the fact that I knew exactly which episode he was watching with next to no information, he was just like, okay, that's just spooky.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first thing that came to mind when you said Scottish was immediately Scrooge McDuck. So it wasn't that guy. So.
Not Disney. It's Warner Brothers.
But yeah, so like, it's funny because, oh shoot, I was just about to say something. Dang it.
And there goes the hamster again.
And there's the hamster. Oh, I was gonna say, on the same line as Looney Tunes, did you guys ever watch the Tiny Toon Adventures?
I never got
I
into
didn't watch that one all that much. Yeah, like my sisters watched it, but I personally didn't watch it much.
Yeah. It was definitely like, it was the one after Looney Tunes, so it was like kind of my older siblings watched Looney Tunes, and then I was watching reruns of Looney Tunes with Tiny Toon Adventures. So
Yep.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're a little loony.
I do very distinctly remember that theme song.
Oh yes. Then there's another one that came on WB Kids with Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan Adventures.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Yep.
Jackie Chan Adventures is oh man, that's so good. Like that is an underrated treasure.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's funny, the my cartoon exposure like came in phases, because like when I was a little kid, I used to watch like The Tick and Gargoyles and the Spider-Man, X-Men, and all the superheroes and stuff like that. But then it wasn't till later in my like early teens and then mid-teens, that's when I started watching things like Jackie Chan Adventure, American Dragon, Jake Long, Danny Phantom. You've never heard of American Dragon?
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, man.
Dude, American Dragon, that's such a good show. Like, if you enjoyed Jackie Chan Adventure, you would enjoy American
yes.
Dragon.
Hang
'Cause
on,
it's like this
Wasn't that
kid
one
that
animated
would,
by Jonan Vasquez?
I don't know.
Wasn't he one of the
I'm
animators
not
on that?
sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It was about this kid that could turn into a dragon, and he's like kind of crime fighting as when he would turn into the dragon and trying to help out random things around the city. So it's very similar to the Jackie Chan Adventure type vibe.
Okay.
Very much so. Very similar animation style as well.
There's only 2 seasons of that one, surprisingly.
Yeah. I went to go watch it back. I think it's on Disney Plus now, if I'm remembering correctly.
That would be why I didn't see it.
Well, it's
Because it was on Disney.
That's right.
It was not for the reason you're thinking.
it was on Disney XD when I was growing up.
Okay. That's
So-
why we never had cable growing up.
Yeah. So American Dragon was along those same lines, but yeah.
It is on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Yep.
So you should go watch it.
I'm starting it now. I'm kidding.
So
American
it looks like
Dragon.
the guy that created American Dragon actually did one episode of Duck Dodgers as well.
Oh, Duck Dodgers.
Nice.
Wow. I haven't
Very
heard that
nice.
one in a while either.
Right? That's a
Did you guys ever watch was it Space Ghost growing up?
Coast to Coast? Yes.
Yeah.
The actual Space Ghost? No.
Well, it's funny because that one and I want to say it was Birdman that was I always got those two mixed up because I remember seeing the cartoon and the look of Space Ghost, and then I would hear the theme song of Birdman because it's just like the Birdman. For some reason, those two always just stuck together for me.
I think
I was familiar with Space Ghost, but I never actually sat down and watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about going back a little even further with PBS PBS cartoons like Arthur.
Yep.
Yep. Arthur, that one, like, I feel like most people around our age have seen that one.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my screen names for AIM was Buster J. Buster J 14551.
Jeez.
Nice.
Throwing out an AIM reference? Man, this is a throwback episode.
No. This isn't the throwback episode. This is the We Are Dating Our Co-Host episode. Like, just exactly how old are you people? You're
Physically
of
or
a certain
mentally?
age.
Physically or mentally, because that's kind of a ranging answer for all three of us.
Also depends on setting.
Physically in our 30s, but mentally 12.
That's being generous.
Depends on the day. It's like I still watch cartoons and anime, but I also very much want to be the guy sitting on my porch yelling at kids to get off my lawn. So
Yep. Or now with tablets, do both at the same time.
Yeah, there you go.
another one that I liked watching growing up, which I think David will chime in pretty quick on this one, was Tom and Jerry.
That one was definitely, it didn't make my list, but it's definitely something I grew up on.
Oh, yeah. See, I remember whenever the Tom and Jerry movies started first coming out, my sister and I would always keep an eye on whenever those were going to the Dollar Theater in Waco.
See, I never watched the movies, and
Sorry.
I don't think I've seen the movies either, actually.
So the movies were basically just an hour and 30 minutes of basic shenanigans. It was basically an hour and 30 of what you grew up with on the show.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was like a bunch of shorts put together, pretty much.
It was one cohesive storyline,
Okay.
but it was basically the same fare you'd be seeing from one of the shows, just drawn out.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I never got to see those.
Yeah, they were pretty fun. There was another one growing up. Like I would get to watch it whenever I was sick. But it was the Tex Avery Archives,
I never heard of that one.
or was it the Tex Avery Show? But it's basically a showcase of different animations done by Tex Avery, who is one of the original animators for Tom and Jerry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
That
He had
sounds
a-
like fun.
yeah, he had a fairly distinctive style. Him and I'm blanking on his name, Chuck something or other. But he's the guy who did the animations for the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay.
It's gonna drive me nuts. I'm sorry, I'm googling that one. Chuck Jones.
Chuck Jones.
Chuck
Okay.
Jones.
All right.
Yeah, with the really exaggerated facial features, the massive grin, where it didn't look sinister unless it was on the Grinch.
Right. Yeah.
But with any other character, be it Droopy or Jerry, it just looked like, okay, they're getting a point of someone just had an absolutely hilarious idea and they're going to try to pull it off.
It's like the big floof character. I think from Looney Tunes. It looks like a big hairy heart.
Yeah, with all the episodes with Witch Hazel. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to remember the character's name now.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I feel like stuff like the Tom and Jerry grin and stuff when they were up to something is where that grin meme has come from, because that was the original grin.
Yep. Of course, where I originally fell in love with that guy's animation style was through my dad, Wile E. Coyote, and Roadrunner.
Oh man.
Yes.
How is that not? Oh, it's because it's part of Looney Tunes, isn't it?
So
Yeah,
it is and it isn't.
yes.
It has its own like. It's like a short within a
series of sketch animations. Yeah.
So that should be on my list as well, because I don't think anybody from our generation could say anything about cartoons without thinking about Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Yep. And I remember the first time my dad found some of their old tapes. One of the first ones he showed me, it blew my mind because Wile E. Coyote is talking.
What?
Yes. It was. I want to say it was like the third or fourth short as far as when it came out, where he's advertising himself as what was it? Wile E. Coyote, super genius. And Bugs is just kind of sitting there like, all right, cool, whatever. Sure thing, Doc.
It was like, yeah, you can be a genius all you want. You aren't beating me.
Yeah.
Well, it's that him and Roadrunner not gonna beat him either.
Yeah. Well,
True.
I mean, the thing is, the earlier cartoons like that, they all seem to be more of that. We're going to present a fable, so you can pick up on the moral yourself, but we're not going to talk down to you of this is the moral of the show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It used to kind of be that idea of. Sorry, go ahead.
Those cartoons didn't challenge the intelligence of the audience, and they also didn't need to tell us not to do something at home.
Oh yeah.
We knew not to do things at home.
Yeah.
So it was just a different time, different thought process with what they did, and they just didn't challenge or they didn't question your intelligence. They just assumed you were going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, you mean I shouldn't order an anvil and try to drop it off a mesa on my sister? Who would have thunk it?
Where would you even get a stick of dynamite these days?
Any day, not just these days.
Actually, my grandfather had stories. Had stories. Anyway.
Along those same lines too, did you guys ever watch the Animaniacs?
So briefly, but due to the humor in it.
Yeah. It was a little bit more adult, which I think that was why I wasn't necessarily allowed to watch it. It was on that line where we would watch it every once in a while, but then every once in a while my mom would be like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with other shows that frequently came up on WB Kids, there were some where mom wouldn't let my sister and I watch it because she felt embarrassed for the characters.
Yeah.
Like the Tick.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, the Tick was...
Like, going back and watching it now, I kind of get it, but holy crap, that was funny.
Yeah. It's like watching The Office these days and feeling embarrassed for Michael.
That secondhand cringe.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of shows like that, actually. And The Office was actually one of them, too. Yeah, so quite a few shows where, Office, Mr. Bean, even the animated Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
But as far as classic cartoons, did y'all ever watch, like, the original Pink Panther cartoons?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
I did not watch that one.
Kind of surprised, actually. That seems more like something y'all would have watched as a family, almost. I don't know why I have that picture of y'all.
No, we watched a lot of the superhero cartoons and some of the later like Toonami cartoons, like Codenamed Kids Next Door, Ed, and Eddie, Rocket Power. Well, no, Rocket Power was Nicktoons. Yeah, you're right. That's my bad. But shows like that, and then like Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Lab, Teen Titans.
Yes.
We watched like Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot. I'm gonna clump that into cartoons. I think it's technically an anime, but it's very much closer to that Western style than it was anime style. So
yeah, I never did get into Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
I watched that one and Pokemon a lot growing up. Like Dragon Ball Z is definitively an anime. I'm still going to mention it once because that is a huge part of my childhood. But like,
it's an animated feature, so yeah, I'll put it under cartoon no matter what.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I was going to say, yeah, those ones were kind of on my list of ones I wasn't allowed to watch, which was kind of my next question. Was like, what were some of the ones that we watched but didn't watch growing up, where our parents were like, no, let's not watch that one.
So funnily enough, I mean, the shows that I wasn't allowed to watch growing up, my friends were actually, they were kind of shocked, but they were actually pretty cool up until we were in our teens about it.
Yeah.
Or where it's like, yeah, okay, if your folks are saying you can't, fine, whatever, we'll do something else. And then about the time we hit our teens, or maybe just 12, we got to that point where it's like, really? You're not allowed to watch something? Come on. Yeah. Which I feel kind of bad about now, but at the same time, it's like, probably need to reevaluate those rules with my folks. And actually, they had reevaluated them at that point. I realized that sounded horribly pretentious.
Well, no, like I definitely get that because I had a moment like that with my folks as well. Like I used to watch Pokemon and Captain Planet a lot growing up, and we had one of those pastors come through that our church that was like, oh, Captain Planet is teaching this and this, and Pokemon's teaching this and this, and you shouldn't let your kids watch it. And one day, like, my parents never said anything about Pokemon. I kept watching it. There's one day I put on Captain Planet. My dad was like, no, you can't watch that because what the pastor said. And I'm like, I've been watching Pokemon for the last month. You really going to sit here and tell me that I can watch one but not the other? Come on now. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. I had the same, not the same kind of thing, but it was my parents didn't want me watching things like SpongeBob SquarePants and the Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh kind of things. A lot of the times, like the reasons why my parents didn't want me to watch some of the things was because they, and this actually kind of transferred over to live action stuff as well, but it was because a lot of times they showed kids as being smarter than their parents.
Yeah.
And like really made the parents look dumb.
Yeah.
And I definitely understand that. Then there is that line of like, but it's just dumb fun.
Yeah, but I think my previous statement got approved.
Yeah. I was going to say too, like, I was going to say when you were going through your line
or rather evidence that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it was,
and like being able to have, you were at that age where you could have that discussion, right? And that was the same thing with me with the Captain Planet and Pokemon. My dad's sitting there like, you're not allowed to watch that. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
I'm not dumb. I know that these things are not real. You don't have to tell me they're not real because I'm not stupid. Why do I need to stop watching these shows I've been watching for years? They clearly haven't impacted me up to this point. Right. So why is it suddenly a problem? Like,
Well, I think,
you get to that point where you can have that discussion
Yeah.
and be able to say, like, kind of like voice your argument a little bit. Whereas when you were younger, you may not be able to voice it to that same extent.
Yeah.
True, and also you kind of hit on the main reason why my folks had the rules that they did for my sister and I, where more me than my sister. When I was real little, I could not differentiate between fact and fiction. If I saw it, it was possible. Period. That was how I worked. And I had many, many rude wake-up calls because of it, too.
See, I think that was kind of mitigated in my life. Because I watched mostly superhero stuff, so like it wasn't reality for me.
No comment?
I mean, I pretended a lot. Like I was I was Spider-Man swinging through the trees. But
pretending and actually doing are two very different things. Like I watched wrestling and wrestled with my sisters on the trampoline. I never grabbed a steel chair and tried to smack one of them. Like pretending and doing the actual thing are very different. Did I climb onto the fence and do a flip off onto the trampoline a couple times? Who's to say? But no steel chairs.
Yep. I'm trying to think of some others though.
Yeah, I mean, I still have a bunch here where like
no, Rugrats was another one for us.
See, Rugrats was one I wasn't allowed to watch. Fairly Odd Parents I wasn't allowed to watch. Beavis and
Fairly
Butthead
Odd Parents is great.
Beavis and Butthead is a completely different story.
I understand.
That's good
and
discernment. That's just good discernment on your parents' part.
Yeah, that was a more adult type show.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Simpsons, the what is it? The Animation Invasion on Fox. Anything in that category, no, we were not allowed to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons growing up, but at one point, it was like early high school, I started watching Family Guy around the time that got started. And I thought it was hilarious, but I knew that, like, I knew not to repeat or do the things that were in the show. And like my parents never thought about it because I never talked about Family Guy. But then there was one time that my dad walked upstairs and he saw me watching it. He just kind of stood there for a second and goes, "How long have you been watching this?" And I just like froze, just looked at him. And it's like he saw the look on my face. He's like, "Don't tell your mom," and just walks away. All right.
Wow.
And this is the moment you turn around and say, "Sorry, Mom."
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot at some point during these. It's like, because I keep saying things that I wasn't allowed to do that, but I did it.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm in my 30s now, Mom. Come on. Can't hold it against me now.
I mean, they could.
They could, but it wouldn't do them any good.
Are you kidding? My family were Scott-Irish. They're going to hold it against me.
Oh, man. Oh, man. So the another cartoon that I had thought about was it was a Superman cartoon, but I think it was I don't think it was a full show. I think it was like a one-off or maybe like 2 or 3 episodes. But there was one episode of it that I used to watch all the time. This isn't one of the ones that we weren't allowed to watch. This is just regular cartoons I watched all the time. But it had, excuse me, an episode where Superman was going up against like these big robotic things that would like fly through the air and stuff like that.
Oh, shit.
And every time I think of Superman, for some reason, that's the episode that always comes to mind.
I remember that was an arc in Justice League, like the original animated Justice League.
This was definitely...
Okay, correction. The 90s and early aughts Justice League, because the original was in like the 60s or 70s.
Yeah. No, this was early Superman. Like, way before Justice League.
Well, I feel like the Superman cartoon and really the latter half of the Batman cartoon were kind of setting up and building towards Justice League and Justice League Unlimited cartoons.
Oh, those were such great shows.
Like I remember in the Justice League Unlimited, like one of the bigger arcs where they were like showing different things around the world and showing all of these different superheroes fighting these like alien invasions off at different parts of the globe. And it was just like seeing these unique characters and like the abilities they had, and like this random like cowboy type guy that is just basically just a cowboy bandit attire and just like shooting the aliens. And I was just like, who is this guy? This guy's freaking cool.
I believe his name is Vigilante, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah, it's a DC superhero.
Yeah, there was Vigilante. There was the Question, who was
I forgot about the Question.
Yeah, the one with no face.
Yep.
Yep,
very
it is
noir
Vigilante.
style.
I just did a quick Google search, and it's definitely him.
I used to watch that show all the time. I watched it multiple times.
So, for ones that I wasn't allowed to watch but did, not so much. For ones that I probably wouldn't have been allowed to watch but did, there was a brief Lobo cartoon.
Really?
Yes, that and Biker Rats from Mars.
I feel like I heard about that one, but a Lobo cartoon.
Yes, they did. It did like I only remember like 2 or 3 episodes of it, and not very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I distinctly remember there being a cartoon series based on Lobo, which, if anyone is familiar with that character, he is not for kids. Period.
No, he's basically DC's Deadpool.
He's DC's Deadpool, but R is being tame
Yeah.
in some regards.
Yeah.
Now I remember that sort of content wasn't in the show, thankfully. At least that I remember. Or it's really, really well repressed.
Yeah. It's those times where you watch something and later on you watch it back and it's like, oh, I watched that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's just picking up on the humor that you didn't get back then. Like, go back and watch any movies or shows that we watched as kids, and you're like, that was a joke that they made.
Oh, heck, just go back and watch VeggieTales.
Right.
Yeah, I know my sisters used to watch Powerpuff Girls a lot, and I would watch it too from time to time because it was like superhero characters fighting. Like, what's not cool about that?
Right.
But going back and seeing different memes or even just clips of that show now, and I'm just sitting there like, wait, how are we allowed to watch this? My parents saw this. Did they not realize what was happening?
Like the constant jokes that Mr. Mayor is hired his secretary strictly as eye candy.
Well, that and the fact that one of the main characters was the devil, or one of the main villains was the devil.
Oh, wow.
Well, same with Cow and Chicken.
Yeah, I won't even go into some of those jokes. The memes that I see on that one.
It's okay, Professor. My folks say I was in an accident, too.
That was one of
Just
them.
Just the look on
You
the
said
professor's
you weren't
face.
going into it.
The look on the professor's face when he hears it, like, oh, that was information I did not need.
Yep.
Oh.
And then there were shows that you'd be surprised, but they still have that humor. So shows that are mostly visual storytelling, like Samurai Jack. Even Samurai Jack has some of those moments, and that is predominantly visual.
Yeah. Samurai Jack, I feel, doesn't get the same love that it should have.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, now, there's a cult following to it, and so a lot of people are kind of acknowledging it and talking about it more than they used to. But like when we were kids, I didn't know anybody that watched that because no one wanted to, like, no one talked about it for whatever reason. I was
Because
sitting
no
there
one
like,
talked in
it. True.
I will say that the one thing I did know about Samurai Jack was the AOL.com games of
Yes.
Samurai Jack. That was an amazing game.
Yes. The one where you're going to the different areas and you're learning how to fight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like it was very well done. Like for a a website game.
Oh, yeah. For a Flash game, it was awesome.
Yeah. Flash game. That's
Yeah.
the thing I was thinking.
Well, that was one of the other things that I think cropped up because of the strong animation culture of the 90s and early aughts.
Oh, yeah.
Was Flash games. I mean, there were the constant cartoon stuff on Cartoon Network where it's like you're going across the different characters and it's like a Pokemon style game, but you're doing these constant fetch quests.
Yeah.
But they were fun. They were engaging.
Mm-hmm. They had a cool, not necessarily storyline, but it was like you said, it was engaging to want to get through the levels and stuff like that. And you had different things you could do and like for that one. And then there was like the Batman Beyond one that I really loved.
Yes.
That like, I know I've talked to you guys about it before, but like those ones. And then one of the ones you mentioned before was Codenamed Kids Next Door.
Yep.
They had a really good Flash game on there as well.
Yep.
And it was like, wow, these are really cool. And then I watched the show and I was like, meh.
It was a fun show, but it definitely did not have the same catch as the Flash game, sadly.
Right, yeah. At least to me.
Well, I guess it depends on, because I started with the show before I ever found the games, and I loved the show.
Yeah.
That's still one that I could easily sit down and watch through today.
Yeah. I'm going to have to try and watch it again because I just remember watching one episode of it, and I was just like, okay, there's really not anything that I felt very compelled to watch, but who knows? Maybe this time I might.
Yeah.
Getting back into nostalgia, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was something my sister and I were debating whenever she was expecting our first was, so her husband and I, the three of us were kind of debating like, okay, what shows from our childhood would we let our or her kids or just the next generation of kids that we might be bringing up, what shows would we let them watch? And almost unanimously, the shows that we had seen, the animations we had seen from like the late aughts onward, no.
Yeah.
Like there are a handful of them where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe. Like I think Adventure Time barely made the cut.
I personally I don't think I would limit that one for my kids for a couple of reasons. One, like I watch them and I'm now suffer from being a responsible adult. So, of course. And two, like it really comes down to like how you teach them and raise them. Because if you're teaching them and like they're watching some of these things, it's like I can sit there and goof around and watch anime with my nephew, and he's been watching Naruto with my sister and brother-in-law, but he knows that he can't do jutsu. He can't run with his arms out back behind him. Like they have taught him the lesson that he's watching it's fair. But he's watching these things, and they're just explaining to him like what's possible, what's not possible. So like for me, I don't feel like I would actually limit my kids watching any of the shows I grew up with, because like one, they're not going to understand a lot of the humor that we're going to understand at this point, and two, like we all are responsible human adults that are able to make decisions and do the right thing because of how we were raised, not because of what we watched. So
yeah, I think the big thing, like you said, is it is how you raise them. I think there is something to be said about limiting certain things that they watch just because it can get in there,
like following the appropriate like age recommendations for the shows. Like,
by and large.
Yeah, like, I mean, I was watching Looney Tunes most of my life, and so I don't have a problem with kids watching Looney Tunes because, like you said, you're not going to just go out to the store and grab an anvil and eat it at your sister. A kid's not going to be able to pick it up even if they find an anvil. So, like...
Yeah. I mean, there are some, though, where it's like, just flat out not letting it... If I ever have kids, no, not letting my kid watch that. But
I'm curious which ones those are now.
We don't necessarily have to get into that.
Yeah.
we don't want to
bog down the audience.
Yeah. But I mean there was definitely a lot of cartoons that were really good, really just fun, and just not necessarily wholesome, but overall wholesome, and but I do have uno question, and I think to really wrap this kind of up, I think we're coming to a close. But if you had to pick your top 3 favorite cartoons, which would they be?
That's a tough one. For me personally, I'd probably put Avatar: Last Airbender at number 1 because there's just so few shows, live action, animated, whatever, that can really come up to the level of Avatar: Last Airbender for me.
That is very true.
Probably Teen Titans would be the second one, just because the storytelling and the character development that they did in that was so good.
Yeah.
Man, I want to say Gargoyles for number 3.
Ooh, nice.
I'm back and forth
That's a
between
surprising
Gargoyles.
one, honestly.
I'm back and forth between Gargoyles and Pokemon because I love both of those. I still very much have a passion for both of them. I think I'm going to have to slightly give the edge to Pokemon just because that is something I still like play the games and watch YouTube videos and stuff for regularly now. Like, Pokemon and Gargoyles are like neck and neck, but I think there's just a slight edge to Pokemon for number 3 on that one for me.
I was going to actually say I'm going to probably put a tie on mine. So, so that's totally fine if you have a tie on yours.
I don't
What
know.
about you, David?
Invader Zim is definitely 1 or 2. Just because that was kind of my introduction to dark humor, and that's trial by fire right there. I mean, first season you have an alien running around a school, teleporting organs out of other students' bodies to appear more human. Anyway, so that's probably 1 or 2 for me. Batman Beyond would probably be the other place there. And then for third, just because I am indecisive, it would be any of the original Looney Tunes or segments even.
Yeah.
And heck, that's actually how I learned most about opera.
Yeah. I could definitely see that.
That's where it gets its name. We want it to be these crazy introductions to old music.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, for me, I have to say that I totally forgot about Avatar, so that's definitely going to be on my list. So my original list was X-Men, Spider-Man, and Danny Phantom.
I
But
vaguely remember Danny Phantom.
I feel like I may end up kind of bumping Danny Phantom out because I love that show. But it's either going to be it's either going to be Avatar or what was the other one? No, I'll just say Avatar.
I think the only reason that didn't make the cut for me is because I didn't get into that one until late high school.
Yeah, me neither.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was one of the things I was going to say was like the transitions for me was very like throughout my
Okay.
young adulthood.
Okay.
Because I was like I watched all the like classic Looney Tunes and stuff like that when I was growing up, along with Spider-Man, Batman, and all those superhero shows. Watching those on Saturday mornings, and then towards my my teens and mid-teens and stuff, it went into some of those more, not necessarily adult, but like more teen-centric. You know what I mean? So like some of those ones that like American Dragon, Jackie Chan, like all those ones that came out when we were younger, but I watched them all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So like all those other ones, and then even later was some of those other ones. So yeah, it was really weird. So it was more so that I had access to them because we really didn't have cable that much either. So like once we got internet, that's when I started watching things on YouTube and stuff like that. So
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going to wrap up our discussion on childhood cartoons. But yeah, it was a good episode, guys. And
Yeah.
stay young at heart, kids.
Yep.